Good morning, everybody. It is 8:47 a.m. Monday, July 1st. We are here once again back on another market open. I hope everyone has had a good weekend. We are officially here in July, which is pretty incredible. 6 months into the year, or this is the 7th month into the year now. So we're starting that 7th month, and we are here July 2024. The reason I love the beginning of every month, or like when a new month starts, is it's because it's like a new beginning. Yes, I did get a haircut, as you guys are seeing. I got a haircut. We had a little party at our house this weekend. My hair is being kind of crazy right now. But we had a bunch of people come over yesterday. It's kind of like a summer party. Actually, what was funny is I spent all weekend building these canopies for my mom. You guys know I went to Dick's on Friday to like buy these canopies. We built up these canopies. And then yesterday we had a thunderstorm in New Jersey. So like everyone was outside. They had their food. There's like 80, 50, about 80 to 100 people here. And then everyone just gets soaking wet. So we had to bring the party inside. So yeah, that was. But then it cleared up after like 20 minutes. But those 20 minutes were like intense rain. And then it was okay. But I'm happy it's July, because when you have a new day of the month, or like new beginning of a month for the year, it becomes exciting. You can do new things. You can set new possibilities. You can set new goals. I'm one of those people. I'm pretty sure some people in the chat agree. Some disagree. But like when you start something, you kind of have to start fresh. And like it's nice to start on like a new day, right? Or like a new month versus like in the middle of the month, or in the middle of the year, or in the middle of, like a week. So it's very difficult for me to start something fresh. And for me, the gym is my biggest thing. So I've been going to the gym here and there in June, like just getting back into the motions. But July is when I'm really trying to take it serious and start this weight loss process and journey again. So thank you all for being here. Hopefully you guys are having a good weekend. I think, is it June's birthday today? Yeah, it's her birthday, July 1st, right? Is she in the chat? Okay, I don't know if she's in the chat, but it is June's birthday. So shout out to June. I was a little late. Yes, I see all the jokes in the chat. Someone said you should put the estimated time at 9:30 to start. So you're early every morning. That would be funny. So we're back in July. This is really fun, dude. We are here in July. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. This weekend was very interesting in regards to all the news that broke this morning. We have so much stuff. We have Palantir news to talk about. Roaring Kitty bought 9 million shares of a new stock. We got to talk about that. We all kind of thought it was going to happen, but now it's happening. Political stuff has broke out in regards to the Biden campaign. It seems like Biden is continuing to run the campaign, and the reasons for why he's going to stay in the campaign are very interesting. So there's a lot to discuss and a lot to get into as well. I don't think June's in the chat, but it is her birthday on July 1st, and so she'll be happy when she sees all the birthday messages. Roaring Kitty's getting sued as well. Yes. Okay, so let's get started with the news. I want to start off with Tom Lee. I want to get into his predictions first and what he thinks is going on in the world, and then we'll keep going from there. So here's Tom Lee. Here's his updated predictions on the S&P and Bitcoin. Let's start off with that, and then we'll get into all the nitty-gritty stuff that we got to talk about. France politics as well. Yes, France had a big swing yesterday. We'll talk about all that stuff. Here we go. Here's Tom Lee, updated S&P 2024.
Global Advisors, managing partner, and CNBC contributor, but close enough for government work. You're right again. And once again, your rationale was borne out. It was that inflation would continue to cool. It's July 1st. You have a new target for the end of the year, or I've already sort of foreshadowed some of the things you were talking about. The S&P earnings might even be above what you thought.
Yes, I think that now that we're at the mid-year, 2025 earnings look a lot stronger than we thought at the start of the year. We thought maybe 260. It's probably closer to 275, maybe 280, even 285. And I think the multiple we thought originally could be 20 times that number for next year. But given the Fed has more reasons to be dovish, and I think maybe the employment picture is softening, PE multiples actually could be higher next year. So I'd say between now and year end, stocks should be higher. I mean, we've had a strong first half already, and second half won't be as strong as the first half, but we should build upon those gains. So yeah, it looks pretty good.
You have numbers. I mean, so if the S&P is 285, you possibly, that's earnings,
correct.
285, up from 270. Because the economy doesn't cool, multiples don't expand. In fact, they might contract from 21 to 20. So if you multiply 20 times 285, you get to 5,800.
Yeah, so that sounds like it'd be within as a reasonable base case, that stocks don't have to have a prodigious second half. They just have to follow what typically happens in the second half, especially in an election year.
So 5,800 for the year, what would that be the total return of it? It's 15 now, so
yeah, so it's it's a little bit more than 20%.
Which would be after last year's
24.
24. That's a couple years.
So that's 28. That's $285 on about a 21 multiple. That's how they get close to 5,800 to 6,000 on the S&P. Remember, originally Tom Lee thought it would be 5,200, but obviously, given how the year has gone, he's revising that closer to 6,000.
There's no one really expected, I don't think.
That's right. I mean, that's painful for people who've been sitting in cash for 2 years, earning 5% because they missed out on a 50% gain, and that's 10 years worth of sitting on cash. So, I think the end of this year is a little bit of a day of reckoning for those who've said, "Oh, I'm happy with my $6 trillion in cash, earning 5%," when in reality, unless the economy is rolling into recession, the expansion will continue for some time.
Is the $6 trillion, and that's what's fueling this, the additional liquidity, people aren't fully invested. Was that gotten through organic positive means, or was it gotten through stimulus that shouldn't have been probably legislated and shouldn't have been printed? Is it good money, or is it money that comes home to roost because it's too much?
I haven't deconstructed that, but it's a valid point because we are running a pretty big fiscal deficit at a time when it's not necessary. There is a lot of earned income on people's assets. I think that accounted for a lot of this increase in cash. And historically, that would have been reinvested in the economy or into equities, but it's been instead earning cash.
That actually is interesting. I never thought of that. Joe said, how much of the $6 trillion is money that we printed versus money that is money that people actually brought in from, their jobs. I would agree with Tom there. I mean, yeah, some of it's probably printed, but I think a lot of it has to do with wage increases and just overall productivity that people have experienced in their salary increases, but also their net worth increases. I mean, if you've had a house and you've sold a property in the past 2 years, at least in the United States, you've done very well. You're probably sitting on some extra cash. So I think money markets are probably fueled by that. Now, if people missed the money markets update on Thursday, we did increase by about $4.97 billion. Not a lot of money. Honestly, it's like a rounding error in the context of the $6 trillion that we have in the money markets, but we did increase by $4.97 billion. Now, J-Powell is going to be talking this week. There's going to be a lot of different Fed stuff going on, so a bunch of stuff to cover. But overall, I mean, we ended out the halfway part of the year pretty damn strong. And I think that's why Tom Lee's revising his overall thesis on where we are in the macro. So for the year, for 2024 so far, S&P is up 14.6%, the Nasdaq around close to 18%, Russell down 1%, and the Dow Jones up about 4%. Bitcoin is up 36%, now a little bit more because Bitcoin had its run over the weekend. We'll talk about that. And then Berkshire Hathaway up 14%, Nvidia up 151%. So year-to-date returns on global equities have been pretty phenomenal. And the idea is now, do we give up these gains in the latter part of the year, or do we continue to keep these gains? And I think if earnings growth continues to be how it has been for the first 6 months, and we're going to talk about the state of the U.S. consumer in a little bit as well, I don't see a reason why we have to give back a lot of these gains with the tailwind of inflation coming down and rates also coming down. And that being, very beneficial for companies that are in the Russell that hasn't done this well this year. So I think we've got some momentum on the side of us. Also, July, we shared this chart last Friday from Goldman. The first 2 weeks of July have been the best 2 weeks in the stock market since 1929. So, I mean, the things tend to hold up historically. Now, September, on the other hand, tends to be the worst. Since September is the worst every single year. July ends up being the best those first 2 weeks, especially in an election year. It also ends up being the best. So the next 2 weeks will be very interesting to see kind of how the market plays out. But so far, not doing too bad as we start off the second half of the trading year. We're going to discuss the Biden campaign real quick and what's going on in politics. Let's just quickly go through some of these equities. Palantir right here, 25.57. We'll talk about why this is up 1% in the pre-market. Robinhood, 22.94. Some Robinhood news I broke over the weekend. I don't know if anyone saw that. If you're not following me on Twitter, then you wouldn't have seen it. But I had like a legit scoop. Like I was like a legit journalist on Robinhood because I found some sources to validate some news, and I broke that news. So we'll talk about that. It's bullish and bearish. I think it's like 90% bullish, 10% bearish, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Citigroup up a little bit, 63.73. PayPal 58.30. SoFi 661, up 1%. In the pre-market, S&P 500 545. Bank of America. Bank of America is raising their dividend to 26 cents a share. This is a really good sign because it means that banks have the capital to be able to give back to their shareholders, which means the loans on their balance sheets that are completely underwater to the tunes of hundreds of billions of dollars aren't as bad as what the bears think it is. If Bank of America can actually increase their dividend and keep their Capital One ratios intact. So really good for Bank of America actually doing that. And I think other banks will follow. MicroStrategy up about 2%. Enphase, I didn't even know Enphase fell below 100. I was talking with a friend on Saturday night who had some option plays on Enphase, and he told me like, yeah, this thing like crushed him. And I was like, did it go that bad? And I saw it. It was like 12 a.m. on Saturday. And I was like, oh my God, Enphase is down at 99. Like I thought it bottomed at like 106, 107, but it just got hit. And I believe this is all because of a JP Morgan downgrade. They like got really bearish on solar, and the stock fell from almost 140. Look at this, 141, literally 141 on July 12th to 98. That almost was as bad as I think the like 110 to 72 fall that we had on earnings in October 2023. So Enphase definitely got hit. The question now is, are interest rates falling going to be a tailwind for Enphase, which obviously benefits if rates are lower because solar is cheaper to finance. DJT up about 2.4%. SMCI up 1%. Dell, we'll talk about Dell and their relationship with Bitcoin because a lot of interesting stuff is going on there. Dell at 138, and then Bitcoin here at 62,813. It did get to 63,500 yesterday, but it's fallen a little bit since yesterday morning. Okay, cool. So let's talk quickly about what happened with the Biden campaign. So over the weekend, the Biden campaign, or the NBC reported that the Biden campaign was meeting with Biden, meaning his family and close advisors were going to meet with him and basically decide if he was well enough to be a president, right? To actually like continue going on in this race. If you guys have not noticed, the mainstream media, I'm talking about the New Yorker, the New York Times, CNN, Time Magazine, MSNBC, some of the biggest sources of Democratic support have all put out opinionated pieces on their column calling for Biden to get out of the election, which is pretty insane when you think about it. These are news sources that are not supposed to just leave Biden or leave the Democratic candidate. I mean, historically, they have just not done that ever since the Obama administration, but they did. So at Camp David, Biden, it was reported that Biden specifically talked to Hunter Biden, his son, as one of the key voices that was urging the president to stay in the race. So Biden had come into this meeting, having an open mind, basically saying, look, if you guys really think I should drop out, I'm going to drop out. Apparently, Jill Biden, his wife, and Hunter Biden, his son, were the core voices saying that you should not drop out. And it is reported that Biden takes his son's advice very seriously. He ignored a lot of the campaign operatives that did say he should drop out of the race and gracefully decline to keep running. And Hunter ended up being the voice that he took very seriously. Now, what's very interesting about this is, and I wrote this up right here, if Biden did drop out, he would basically be admitting that he was unfit to run for president. And so the question would become, at what point did he become unfit? Did it happen after 50 million people saw his inability to perform on the debate stage 3 days ago? Probably not, right? Probably this has been going on for years. I mean, dementia doesn't just happen overnight. This has been a slow process that has been taking course. So if this has been going on for years, which a lot of Americans suspect, it starts to make you think who's been running the country for the past 2 years. And if he does drop out, he's going to have to give a reason beyond mental unfitness, because one could argue that if he's unfit to run for the presidency, then how is he going to run the next 7 months of his term? He's still going to be president until January 2025. So whatever reason he would have to give would have had to been more like, I don't feel like running, or I want to, give up control to someone who's maybe better at potentially being a Democratic nominee. Not that he literally can't run, because then people would argue that the 25th Amendment should be being used or should be put into place, which would make Kamala the new president. So this is a really, really interesting decision for Biden. I don't think a final decision has been made. A lot of sources are reporting that Biden definitely is staying into the campaign. and that he's not leaving. That's what, like, last night, sources close to Camp David, which is where he was at, have reported that. But I still think there's a chance where he might come to the conclusion that there's just no way he can end up running as president, given how tough it is to be the president and to put words together. I mean, we saw on that debate stage, it was just tough at this point. And so it's really interesting kind of how this is playing out, because, you know, now the Democrats are in a very tough situation, which is that a lot of the Republicans want Biden to run because they know there's no chance in hell he can beat Trump given his performance. A lot of the Democrats know that as well. The mainstream media knows that as well. Time magazine, I mean, the New York Times, for the New York Times column board to say, hey, you should drop out. That's that's intense, dude. The New York Times, they like, whether you like it or not, they have massive influence over that Democratic voting base. And if they're saying, hey, Biden needs to drop out, like, my thing is, if you don't have the support of the New York Times, who do you have the support of? Like, if the mainstream media is not going to have your back, I mean, who's ultimately going to support you? Another piece of news that I thought was really crazy from the Time magazine opinionated column. This was their argument. It would be the most executive order the world has ever seen. It is utterly within your power, they're talking to Biden, to give America its first woman president. Grant history that gift. Grant your legacy that gift. It would complete a career-defining, democracy-celebrating suite of sound service. I read this last night and I was in utter shock. I could not believe Time magazine was saying, hey, Biden, you should drop out so that Kamala Harris can be America's first woman president. I think it would be an amazing achievement for the United States to have their first woman president. I think it would actually be phenomenal. It would be showing progress in the country, all that stuff. It would be amazing. But Barack Obama did not win the presidency because he was black. He was way better than John McCain, and he was way better than Mitt Romney. He absolutely crushed those two guys, and he ended up winning. I think if we gave our first American woman the presidency by, like, giving her a handoff, it would be the most patronizing thing towards women. And it would be one of those things where it's like, the only reason a woman became the president is because of the 25th Amendment, because she was given to it because this guy wasn't fit to run. Like, I don't even think she would feel that she's like the real first woman president. You should want to win in an actual race competitively, meritocratically, and have the American people elect you, not just become the president randomly, you know? So it's very weird how the mainstream media is trying to reconcile all these different narratives. But the point is, everyone's struggling to try to figure out what should happen. Where should he go? How should the Democratic Party proceed? Now, what does this mean for the broader equity markets? I think for the equity markets, this is actually also very confusing because people didn't notice, but futures, if we take a look at futures on the day of the debate, this was on Thursday, they ripped green. I mean, the S&P 500 was up 0.34% on the idea that Trump would win, because Trump was obviously winning in the debate. So the S&P 500 was like, okay, or, you know, the futures in general, the NASDAQ, even the Russell were like, well, if Trump wins, that's good for the markets. And so if he's winning this debate, he's probably going to win the presidency. Also, Biden was just really bad in the debate. So they priced in a Trump victory, and futures started going higher. Now, this was surprising because Trump brings two things to the White House that the markets hate. He brings randomness. One day he'll wake up and he'll start a beef with Amazon. He'll start tweeting random shit, right? And like the market's just like, well, this is instability that we don't want to see. And then two, he's probably going to bring a trade war with China. I mean, I don't see how we get a Trump presidency that doesn't bring some type of tariffs onto China that's, you know, more intense. And maybe that's the right thing to do, but the point is that will bring instability to the White House. However, he does bring the one thing that we know will increase company earnings, which are tax cuts. If he reduces taxes again or just leaves the Trump tax cuts from 2017 that expire next year intact, obviously corporations are not going to have to pay as much in taxes, and that's going to help company earnings. So if there is a candidate on the Democratic side that the market likes, for example, Jamie Dimon or Mike Bloomberg, which I don't think they're going to run, but imagine they did, you get a pro-business Democrat. You don't get sort of the extremism of the far left that people accuse Joe Biden of having in certain areas. And you get someone who's competent, who can actually put sentences together. There's a good argument for how they could beat Trump. And I don't know if the market would actually like that, if they think, you know, a pro-business Democrat gets into Congress and what that would mean for the broader market, or if they think that's a good thing because you get all of the benefits of Trump, which is like pro-business, but you get none of the randomness or instability because of Jamie Dimon. Mike Bloomberg would obviously be, quote unquote, more presidential. So it's going to be interesting to see how the markets interact with this. But so far, the markets are telling us they like Trump as the next president, and Bitcoin obviously likes Trump as the next president. The question now is Trump actually going to go up against Biden, and will he have a chance to become the next president? So we're going to see. We're going to see how that plays out. But that is the interaction on how it plays into politics or into the broader markets. Did Robinhood buy a business? Robinhood buys Pluto AI. Are you just saying that, or did they actually buy a business? Hold on, that's kind of crazy. There's a business called Pluto AI. Oh shit, Robinhood just bought a company. Holy crap, dude. Oh my god. These guys are doing so much. Where's the stock? Real quick. Where's the stock? The stock's kind of flat on this. Wow, they just bought a company. Holy crap. I thought I was going to break some different Robinhood news today. Here we go. Robinhood acquires Pluto AI investment research platform. Holy crap, dude. Okay, let's read from this. Robinhood is excited to announce the acquisition of Pluto Capital and artificial intelligence. You know, it's so funny. Vlad, someone asked him about acquisitions on the shareholder meeting, and he was like, "We've got some things in store." I didn't know it was this quick that they were going to have something. Investment research platform that delivers highly customized investment strategies based on customer needs and financial goals. With this strategic acquisition, investors can look forward to a new era of intelligent, data-driven investing. Pluto founder and CEO Jacob Stansbury has joined the Robinhood team. Enhanced data analysis, real-time LLMs. This is what I thought they would do. On that shareholder meeting, at the end of it, I actually thought Robinhood would come up with an LLM where you can type in, "Hey, show me a stock with like a PE of 40, but the market cap of 50 billion," and they would like pop up a stock. I think everyone would use that because so far GPTs around finance suck. And if Robinhood could build it, then that would be amazing. Personalized investment strategies. So that's like robo-advising, real-time insights and portfolio optimization. Investors receive real-time updates and insights, enabling informed decisions. Okay, Minak Agarwal, VP of Engineering, says, "We are thrilled to welcome Pluto and Jacob to Robinhood. They have built an impressive platform that is highly regarded in the financial services industry. Importantly, their expertise in artificial intelligence, coupled with the mission-aligned passion to democratize finance, will complement our team's efforts to bring AI-powered tools to our customers." The CEO said, "Robinhood is the ideal destination to build products that democratize access to financial services like wealth management and financial planning through the state of AI. I look forward to innovating at the company, which has inspired me and so many others." Boom. There you go. So Robinhood acquires an AI company. Now, is this a Pluto AI? Is this an actual website we can go to? Pluto AI. I don't know if it's like a back-end product or if it's a consumer-facing product. Oh, no. Here it is. Pluto.fi. Pluto.fi. Oh, it's taken down. It's not there anymore. It's taken down. Yeah, it must be taken down after today. Okay, so I'll be digging into this, guys, and trying to get more information. But there you go. Robinhood just acquired a new stock. How much did they pay? They didn't tell us. I would imagine this is like less than 100 million. I doubt they paid that much money for this. Robinhood right here, 22.89. So the market likes it. It's up on the news. Obviously, there's AI in the name, so the market can't hate it that much. When we bought Bitstamp, so we also went up. I think the market is looking at these as strategic acquisitions, which are ultimately good for the brand. And Robinhood's in expand mode right now. So I doubt we paid more than 100 million. I mean, I don't know how big this company is, but it seems like it's going to be back-end architecture for Robinhood's UI, not like a brand new UI they're incorporating. And it looks like they're going to come out with some new AI tools pretty soon. And if that is the case, then we will probably see a lot more AI integrations into Robinhood. Not bad. Thank you for this no stress invest. I appreciate it, dude. I appreciate it. When I saw this, I was like, what? We bought another company? But all right, there you go. There's Robinhood. All right, I have some other Robinhood news as well. We'll talk about that after the bell. A bunch of different stuff I found out over the weekend, so we'll get into that. But that is the Robinhood news right there. So far, if you're just joining, Tom Lee raised his S&P target to about 5,800. We talked about the Biden campaign that is going to continue to remain in the election. So far, there are no signs of Joe Biden dropping out. That has a big impact on markets because markets so far like Trump. If Biden were to drop out and there was a different candidate, maybe markets wouldn't, like the potential of Trump winning so much. So that would definitely have an impact on how the market prices in a potential victory. But Biden is going to stay in the campaign. And then Robinhood just bought a new AI company. Let's talk about Palantir. So Bank of America is going long on Palantir. They've already been long on Palantir, but they said Palantir should be one of the top 9 stocks you look at going into the third quarter. So if we look at this list right here, they have a few names. They have Goldman Sachs. They have Global Payments. They have General Electric, Elanco, AutoNation, Palantir, Spotify. That's a very interesting one. Union Pacific, and Vertiv. Now, Vertiv makes sense for a variety of reasons. We heard about this stock from Gene Munster a couple weeks ago. It's crucial in the energy semiconductor space. Palantir right here makes a lot of sense, I think, for a variety of reasons. They have a price target of about 28 on that. It's at 25. Bank of America. I'm going to do an in-depth video today going over the Bank of America report that came out on Friday, but they reiterated their belief on Palantir, and they think the technicals show a path to 30, which I agree with as well. And then they want to go short CarMax. So they're long these 9 names and short CarMax. One of the reasons I think they decided to go long Palantir going into 3Q is just because they think the tailwinds for AI are pretty evident. We are seeing AI massively get rewarded by the market, obviously NVIDIA being one of the core names. And if you believe that some of that money is going to start to spread out, then Palantir, which is up 50% year to date, so that, they have been the beneficiary of AI. If that money starts to spread out, NVIDIA, I think, is actually down in the pre-market. Yeah, NVIDIA 123. Maybe some of that money starts leaving companies like NVIDIA for Palantir. Now, again, I think the AI infrastructure and hardware infrastructure is going to take so long to build out that demand is not going anywhere for NVIDIA. But if people just want to diversify, they're going to want more AI exposure. And maybe they don't want AMD or SMCI because they already have enough NVIDIA. Maybe they want a software application like Palantir. I think that's probably what Mariana is thinking. And that's what Bank of America is thinking. And so they see the technicals give a path to 30. They see a lot of those government contracts coming in. And as a result of that, you get Palantir as like a top pick that you have to have. Now, remember, when Bank of America publishes a list like this, everyone looks at it. And when I mean everyone, I mean their clients, right? And they have thousands and thousands and thousands of clients. So we might see a little bit of bump on Palantir today just off the sheer fact that Bank of America put out this note, and Spotify might see a bump. All those companies that benefit from this might see a bump. The reason I think they picked Spotify is because they increased their pricing. Yeah, Spotify's up a little bit in the pre-market, and the increase of their pricing is just going to mean more revenue for the company. Now, their margins have always been the issue, but they are profitable now. I think 2 quarters ago they became GAAP profitable, so that's probably an inflection point they see for the business. But Palantir as well makes sense for it to go long. Their price target again is 28, but they do see the technical say there is a path to 30 on Palantir by the end of the year. If Carp delivers in earnings, it will finally break this trend. Just that simple. Yeah, and again, those earnings, they have to be rooted in increased growth. That is my biggest thing for Palantir. If they can show increased growth, we break above this 26.6 high, and I think we run to 30 as well. Now, maybe we don't sustain 30 for like the next 6 months, but at least we get through. And if we get through, then I think we have a good shot to, make a leg down to 27, 28, chill out there for a little bit, and then officially get above 30 going into 2025. But guys, if we get to 30, Palantir will be up 100% in 1 year. If we get to 30, Palantir will be up 100% this year, which is going to be just incredible because, who would have thought, right? Besides like us that all believed, there's something special here. I think a lot of people will underperform Palantir if they were in a different stock. And that's because Palantir ended up capitalizing on AI. Now, Snowflake is up as well right now. Snowflake almost touching 140. Goldman Sachs, they're at 138 right now, up 2.6%. Goldman Sachs upgraded them to $220 and put them on their America's conviction list going into the second half of the year. So all these banks are going to come out with price targets on companies that they believe you should go long on towards the end of the year. Snowflake is one of those. And again, I kind of can't argue with Goldman Sachs because yes, Snowflake is probably oversold and a bounce back to 150, 170 is due. The broader problem is I think a lot of people are starting to recognize Snowflake does not have a moat when it comes to AI. It's a data lakehouse. It's getting commoditized. Databricks is eating their lunch. And so it's very difficult for me to go long from an investment perspective on Snowflake. And, maybe they revamp growth in the next quarter and they change how things are. But the cybersecurity data breach thing was not good. And obviously the sort of lack of any real AI potential is not good. Again, I saw their keynote on why they're building Arctic. Still doesn't make sense to me why they're building an LLM. I think there's going to be increased costs for very little gain, if any gain, off that project. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Arctic is the core enterprise LLM that's going to change everything. So we'll see what happens there. But Snowflake is up 2.45% in the pre-market as well. Cool. Okay, so that's what we got going on in Snowflake. Let's talk about Kitty. Let's talk about the Kitty. Roaring Kitty has officially bought a new stock. Roaring Kitty has officially bought a new stock. I woke up this morning and I kind of wasn't surprised when I saw this, but then again, it's the Kitty. It is what it is. He has disclosed a 9 million share stake in Chewy. So this is the Ryan Cohen pet company, dog food company that Cohen founded in 2011. Made $1 billion off of it, and he bought 9,001,000 shares. That's the same number of shares Ryan Cohen bought of GameStop. This is Ryan Cohen's former company. Chewy has had a really good year, but it's because their earnings have been amazing, not because of this meme stock stuff. But now it has officially become a meme stock because Roaring Kitty touched it. Chewy is up 12% in the pre-market. I think at one point it was up like 25%. He did tweet this picture of it yesterday, or not yesterday, on June 27th. He tweeted a picture of a dog, and that kind of told us, okay, he's thinking of Chewy. And so that's like, kind of the crazy stuff we're seeing in the context of what's happening there. So also on Chewy, what's also and Roaring Kitty's getting sued. So that's the other piece of news last night happened. So not only is Roaring Kitty going long on Chewy, the lawsuit though, I don't know if the lawsuit's that big of a deal. The lawsuit is he's being sued by a guy named Martin Radev, who's suing Roaring Kitty for securities fraud due to his promotion of GameStop in a class action lawsuit. The guy has 35 shares of 35 shares on a couple of options. Which is not a lot. He's lost $200 on a $1,000 investment. And so he's officially suing Roaring Kitty. I think this is all nonsense. This is going to go through a Delaware court. So potentially there is some chance that this actually holds up, given that the guy who sued Elon had 9 shares of Tesla and had some, little damages, but he still said that he deserved to sue him. In America, you can kind of sue anyone for anybody. It is sad that Kitty's getting sued for posting memes, yet literal hedge funds never get sued over multiple pumps and dumps. And so this is just not good for the broader retail community. I don't think this is going to broadly matter, but this is, not a good thing to see that he's getting sued. I think it's going to be like a simple class action lawsuit that doesn't end up going to trial. Or if it goes to trial, it's not going to be a, sophisticated trial. So we'll see what happens, but it's confusing, dude, because if he bought 9 million shares of Chewy at $30, and I don't know if he bought them at $30, but let's say he bought them at $20, right? Let's say he bought them at 15. I mean, that is 9 times 15, $135 million. And that's assuming he bought it at $15. Where did he get $135 million from? Like, where did Kitty get $135 million from to buy this stuff? Let's say he bought it at $10 a share. Where did he get $90 million to buy this stuff from? And he probably didn't, because I feel like we would have seen it when he disclosed his positions, unless he was like hiding it in his E-Trade somehow. So did he sell GameStop to be able to buy Chewy? If you go to GameStop right here, GameStop is down 6% in the pre-markets because, people are thinking, well, not only is he getting sued for his role in GameStop, but if he sold some of the GameStop to buy some of the Chewy, then is that the best thing in the world? And so I don't know. We're going to see. You guys saying in the chat, Robinhood's not working. My Robinhood is working fine. So I don't know what's happening for you guys, but mine's is working fine. It might be showing some problems. Yeah, my Robinhood is I just pulled it up. It's working fine for me. I don't know. It might be having a glitch for some people. They had a glitch on Thursday, but that lasted for like 10 minutes. Yeah, mine's is working fine. That's weird. Let me go to, it was glitchy earlier. What if they integrated the AI and the Pluto today, and like AI is like messing up the app right now? I don't know. It's working fine for me. I guess we'll see in 10 minutes if they fix it, but it should hopefully be okay. The Roaring Kitty thing again, though, is just crazy. It is absolutely crazy, and I don't know. I didn't expect him to buy Chewy, and I don't think anyone knows where the hell he got the money from to buy this shit. Like, no one knows, unless he's sitting on an extra 90 million. And really, dude, he had 50,000 3 years ago. He's sitting on, at that case, $345 million to buy 9 million shares of GameStop and 9 million shares of Chewy. It doesn't make any sense. He has to be getting funded by somebody. There has to be some partner here, or this dude has an extra 90 million, which means then he has to turn 50,000 into about 750 million in Massachusetts to be able to pay the 50% taxes that he had and still have 350 million left to buy Chewy and GameStop. I like 50,000 to 750 million. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't know if that's possible. But I guess we'll see. I guess we will find out. Okay, so that's what we got on Chewy. You think you guys are saying he sold GameStop? I don't think he sold GameStop because he had it at 23.41. So that means he had to sell when GameStop got to what, like 25, 26 to make a profit. It bottomed at 22 last week. All right. So the highest it got to was 26. That means he would have had to sold on this $26 pump. That's the only way he would have made money, if he sold on that $26 pump. If he sold GameStop, I think so many people would be upset because he's the leader of that movement. He's the guy. Like, And if he's the leader of the movement and he's the guy, like for him to leave that movement, I think it would be really tough for him to just leave. I think people would be really upset. Like, and I think you can make a case. Maybe there was a pump and dump there. If you do this whole live stream, you say you're going long and then boom, you're out of here. So I don't know, dude. It's going to be kind of crazy to see how that plays out. Let's take a look at Dan Ives. He went on CNBC late on Friday night and he continued to reiterate his bullish thesis on Tesla. Tesla now above $200 in the pre-market. And we'll keep going from there. Oh, June's in the chat. Happy birthday, June. We were waiting. We were wishing you happy birthday in like 2 hours ago. Or not 2 hours ago, but like an hour ago. So thank you, June, for being here. Everyone wish her happy birthday in the chat. June has been an OG supporter of the channel, been around basically for 2 years now. Thank you for being here every day, June, and happy birthday to you as well. Happy birthday to June on July. All right, here's Dan Ives on Tesla.
The aforementioned Dan Ives, managing director, of course, at Wedbush. What do you mean the recovery story has begun?
The comeback story for
Did it
Tesla.
need a comeback?
I think it did because they had massive headwinds in China, and now we're seeing the comeback play out. Now, 2Q deliveries next week, I think that's really going to be the last of really some of the worst that we've seen in China. We're starting to see a mini recovery in China. The comeback kid story for Musk is starting with, of course, Robotaxi Day in August. I believe this is a stock that's going to have a massive run second half of the year.
What do you think has been then that headwind that you talked about? Is there one thing you could point to?
Look, EV demand's clearly been soft globally, but it's really about China. I mean, China was a massive tailwind for years, became a headwind, but now, Brian, you're not seeing those price cuts anymore. So you're starting to see stabilization. China demand starting to increase. And I think the stock's telling you, and we believe next week's just another sign of it, is that the worst is in the rearview mirror for Musk and Tesla.
I want to go back and hope you don't mind. You're a good guy and you roll with things. You heard the top of the show, okay? And I built these Trump and Biden portfolios, and I had in my original one I had Tesla because I thought we decided we're not really sure. With Tesla, if Trump wins and rolls back some of these EV financial incentives, don't know if he will, but let's say he did. Would Tesla have a natural advantage over its customers because of its price point? In other words, are they kind of, dare I say, a Trumpy portfolio type company?
Oh, I'd say, Trump pro-Musk, and I'd say it's bullish. A Trump presidency would, at the end of the day, be bullish for Tesla, negative for EVs. Then we saw that when you showed that across Rivian and others. And I think it also speaks to the Biden administration. Musk has really been an afterthought. In a Trump administration,
well, he's been actively ignored.
Actively.
President Biden, I think 2 weeks ago, tweeting out something like, "We're going to make EVs in America," and like he got ratioed, and people are like, Tesla,
and I
already does.
And I think if Trump's in the White House, Musk gets more front and center. That's bullish for Tesla, especially if you start to see those EV rebates roll back. Negative for the industry, bullish for Tesla.
But that's the point. If somebody decides to buy an EV Silverado from GM, in part because they get $7,500, right? If that goes away, they might say, I just can't pay for that. I'm going to go with a Model X.
And they've already scaled. If you look at their scale and you look at their pricing, they are in a massive position of strength. And that's why I think as you start seeing more signs of Trump presidency, that is bullish for Tesla.
So Dan Ives saying that Trump is good for Tesla. The reason I think Trump is good for Tesla, I don't think he's like amazing for Tesla. I just think he knows how to negotiate. Elon's willing to negotiate, and he's willing to embrace Elon, whereas Biden just never embraced Elon, even though obviously Biden cares about the EV revolution. Elon's kind of the leader of that revolution, and Biden never embraced them as deeply as he should have. So I think Trump will embrace him. I think Trump Trump does not have rigid stances on anything. He's a businessman. He'll negotiate on anything. And so if Elon can convince him that he should care about EVs, as long as Elon gives up something, then Trump will probably care about it. So interesting that Dan Ives thinks that Trump would be good for Tesla. Tesla right now, again, it keeps getting back above 200, 201 right now in the pre-markets. If Tesla can get above 200 again and close above 200 for the next couple of days, maybe we normalize this above $200 level, and that ends up becoming incredibly bullish for Tesla making its way to that August 8th event. And I think on August 8th, we're going to get more details outside of just the robotaxi. Like, I think I heard someone saying if they launch it in like one city, just one city, and it's like real, and like people in Austin, for example, can like download the app, or people in San Francisco or something, and they can start trying it. I think the street gets really excited because it's not just an idea anymore. It's like a legit thing that people can download, even if it's in one city, even if it's like Dubai or something. But if people can start posting videos of them in the robotaxi and like it actually working, I think the street starts to feel this is coming way sooner. And this is a tech company that we need to price differently than just being like an average car company. So it's gonna be exciting, and we'll see what happens there. So on Robinhood is down for me on my desktop, but on my phone it's working. So it's a little weird. So it seems like they are having some glitches right now this morning. Again, they had a glitch last week that lasted for like 3 days. They might be pushing like a major update or something. That's why it's happening, or it's something else. But it's weird because on my phone it's working, on my computer it's not. Other people are saying it's on their computer, it is working. So hopefully that's fixed like really soon in the next few minutes. I don't have Vlad's phone number as much as you guys. Did you guys see the meme last on Friday? There was someone made a meme of me and Vlad sitting on that podcast, and I'm like, "Can I get my gold card?" And Vlad's like, "LOL, no." That was like hilarious, dude. It was so funny. All right, we got the market open in 50 seconds, guys. I had one of my best friends come over to the house yesterday that I hadn't seen in 7 years. And we were really close when we were younger, but him and my family were close. And we had this like party yesterday, this like summer party, and he came over. So we talked for the first time in 7 years. And he's like, "So what do you do?" And I was like, I do a show on YouTube. Like, there was no way to explain it, dude. There was just absolutely no way to explain it. So it was kind of funny, but I showed him the Vlad interview, and he didn't know who Vlad was. He was like, "Oh, this seems kind of cool." And I was like, "Yeah, it's kind of cool." And in his head, he was probably like, "I don't know what this guy's doing, but like whatever." It's so hard to explain it to like people that live a corporate life or whatever, what we're doing. He didn't even know the stock market was that big of a deal. I was like, "Yeah, dude, it's important and stuff." But I say all that to say I have the best job in the world. Thank you everybody for being here. Every day you guys come here, it makes my day that much better. And hopefully I can give you guys some entertainment and information every morning. 9:30 a.m. Monday, July 1st. The stock market is now open for the second half of the trading year. Wake your ass up. Here we go. Palantir opens up 1.1% on the day, 25.62. Wow. Someone said, "Are you guys dating now?" I hate you so I hate you guys so much. 25.62 up 1.15% for Palantir. Robinhood 22.81 up 0.44% on the day. Enphase down 0.54%. GameStop down 5.2% on the day. Tesla opens up above 200. 202 on Tesla. If it gets to 205, things get very exciting at 2% up on the day. Snowflake up 2.2% after Goldman Sachs upgraded them. Chewy is up 7%. I think there might be some people selling their Chewy stock right now because they probably think this is turning into a meme stock and they want to get out of it and they want to take the gains. Or some people are probably buying because they think this thing can go to 50 now that Roaring Kitty owns 9 million shares. Again, I don't know how he bought 9 million shares without selling some of his GameStop. And I think we're going to find out eventually if he still owns any of this GameStop. GameStop down 5.5%. CRM is up at 257. Meta 506. Amazon 193. MicroStrategy at 1413. Citigroup 6387. Steve came on the show on Friday and he said Citigroup has a tangible book value of $94. Right now the stock's stating at 63. So maybe that's when we have to look deeper into a little bit. Dividend yield of 3.2% and potentially undervalued by about 30 points. Given their tangible book values closer to 90. Occidental at 63, SoFi 664. That's up a little bit today, so making some momentum on SoFi. Google 185. Google got to 52-week highs last week at 188 and all-time highs. Apple at 212. Taiwan Semi 174. SMCI 820. SoundHound 390. Chipotle now 50 for one split has been completed. 62.70 on Chipotle, and Hims at 2071. That's up 2.58% on the day. Okay, some people are saying Robinhood is working. Some people are saying Robinhood is not working. For some of you guys, you're saying Robinhood's back in business. For some of you guys, you're saying Robinhood's not working. Okay, so maybe in like a couple minutes, it'll be working for everybody. But it seems like for some people it's good. Some people it's not. JP Morgan 204, TFC 39. TFC probably benefiting from the stress test that the banks did with the Fed And all those banks seem to come out pretty strong, which means they're going to either increase their dividend, increase their buybacks, or increase their capital one ratios, but have enough money to be able to deploy towards the second half of the year, even if the Fed does not cut rates. But if the Fed does cut rates, obviously that's going to be a good thing for the broader market and for the banks. Eli Lilly at 914. Tesla, wow, 203. Tesla's trying to make a run for 205. Tesla is trying to make a run for 205. 203.6. Snowflake at 139. Palantir, look at that. There you go. There's the green candle on Palantir. And Robinhood 2292. Palantir 2580. Again, if you're just joining, Bank of America upgraded Palantir to one of their top 9 picks going into Q3 2024. That is a good thing because thousands of institutional clients are going to read their research note today and they're going to end up buying Palantir just based off that research note. So nice to see. Let's see if the momentum can hold on that 2580. Again, 26. If we touch 26 again, that'll be the third time this year that we've touched up to that 26 level. And breaking above that for the third time, hopefully would start to set 26 maybe to be some resistance. It's way too early to say it's resistance, make it to be support. We would have to chill above there for at least a couple weeks for it to become real support. But it's nice to see Palantir up in that 2580 level as well. Chris hates that. Yeah, Chris has to. Chris has to hate that. Look at that, 2589. Then it gets rejected right there. Wait, let me check. I don't think there's a ton of shares waiting at that level. I would hope there's not. Yeah, there's not that many shares at 26. There's 22,000 shares. So if someone could buy, 22,000 shares of Palantir, that would solve some of the issues. But let's see. Enphase 99, Bank of America at $40, MicroStrategy 1411. Okay, Bitcoin. So Bitcoin had a hell of a run yesterday. 62,833 right now is at 63,000. And one of the reasons I think Bitcoin had a run is because Michael Dell is being rumored to buying Bitcoin. Very weird, but it does look like it is possible. He keeps tweeting about Bitcoin, and Michael Saylor keeps responding to him tweeting about Bitcoin, which is just, it's kind of like a weird thing in terms of how it's playing out. Let's look at his Twitter real quickly. If you go to his Twitter, he put out this poll, and he said, the most important thing, AI, Bitcoin, love, and relationships. And he's done multiple polls like this in the past couple of weeks. Saylor responded to this with a love sign. And then if you go to Saylor's Twitter, he posted, basically, it looks like Dell buy, but instead there's a dollar sign and then L and then buy. So he's saying Dell should buy Bitcoin. What's his name? Dell also, Michael Dell filed to sell 1.3 billion shares or dollars of Dell. He already sold $700 million. So people are arguing, well, if he filed to sell $1.3 billion worth of stock, he already sold 700 million. Maybe he's getting ready to make a big purchase into Bitcoin potentially. And so we'll see. But if Dell puts Bitcoin on their balance sheets and detoxifies their balance sheets, in the words of Michael Saylor, that's going to be a big deal. And I think that's going to give a lot of other major corporations that are bigger than Dell the potential room or framework to be like, you know what, we can buy Bitcoin if Dell is buying Bitcoin, even if it's like 0.005% of our balance sheet. S&P right here at 545. And if that money starts coming in, I mean, that gets very, very exciting for Bitcoin. DNA is up 5%. JP Morgan at 204. TFC at 39. Visa at 264. Let's look at the Mag 7. Microsoft is up. Meta is up. Google is up. Amazon is up. Tesla 204. Look at that. A little bit more into 205 for Tesla. A little bit more for 205 on Tesla. I think 205 is a big level for Tesla. That's a healthy $5 above 200. And there's no guarantee that'll stay, but that definitely gets people excited to start buying at 201, 202, 203. They're not buying it, 199, 198, hoping it gets to 200, but it's above 200. Apple right here at 213 as well. And Elf at 216. Celsius is up a little bit as we get into the open. Yeah, up 6%. I don't know if Celsius is oversold or if it's waiting to drop like another 30%. I think their earnings, I would not want to be long going into their earnings because it's very scary, in my opinion. This is coming from someone who doesn't really know the company that well, but if they show any weakness in their sales that's not priced in, the street's just not going to be happy. And so I don't like this bounce might be because people thought it bottomed at 53 and that the growth is not slowing down. If the growth slows down a little bit, it gets a little scary how the street kind of thinks about it. So nice uptrend today, and it obviously bottomed at 53 in a local bottom. but I think earnings are gonna have to justify that. It definitely deserves the premium ahead. Yeah, some people saying Celsius dead cat bounce potentially. Okay, cool. So that's what we have right here on Celsius, up 6%. Robin at 22.72. Palantir. Okay, so Palantir got rejected at 25.93. Now at 25.42. So there were a ton of sellers waiting at that high 25 range, and they took it back down. PayPal at 58. SoFi at 662. S&P at 545. Again, the first 2 weeks of July tend to be good for the broader markets. So we're going to see how that plays out. Chewy now is up 6%. Wow. Tesla above 205. Wow. Tesla above 205. Roy and Katie bought Chewy. For those that are just joining, Roy and Katie bought 9 million shares of Chewy stock. Look at Tesla. $205. Not bad. Not bad at all. This is very interesting. Nvidia, where is Nvidia? Nvidia is, wow, Nvidia's down 1%. Huh. Maybe some of that money's leaving Nvidia and it's going to Tesla. Maybe. I mean, there's a little bit of a rotation happening there. Is IWM, or the small caps up? Small caps are up as well. Huh. Interesting. Also the market might just have some fatigue of Nvidia. I mean, at some point, like, people just get tired of buying a stock, and this thing is up 150% year to date. So I wouldn't be surprised if it takes a breather up until earnings, which is 2 months away, maybe trades sideways, and then it pops out again. I think it definitely can pop out again just after the numbers that they're going to put up, and the PE is going to continue to get lower. Right now, PE is at 40-ish. About 55-ish. I can imagine that gets lower after a good earnings. Nvidia is down right now. Hood technical problems confirmed. Yeah, they already said they had technical problems on their website, on their desktop website. Yeah, my desktop is still not working on Robinhood. My mobile is working, but my desktop's not working. I would imagine they fix it within like the next 15 to 20 minutes. I don't think it would be an all day long thing. The thing is, Robinhood's probably going to get a ton of hate on Twitter for this. Schwab literally did not let people log in 3 weeks ago into their account for a good 4 hours, like until like 1 p.m. That wasn't resolved. And, Schwab got a little bit of pain, but I bet on social media right now, Robinhood is being taken. Robinhood's getting, let's just say, a little bit more than bullied right now, I would imagine. I haven't checked Twitter, but I would imagine any little mess ups by them and they get hit. Yeah, see, Eric says the desktop is fine for him. It's weird. It's going to a lot of different people. It was the opposite for me. My desktop was working, but the mobile was glitchy. Yeah, it's for a lot of different people. Again, it is what it is, dude. A lot of these brokers, they have issues all the time, and you just kind of have to deal with it when they have it. And the fact that Schwab, again, had it 2 weeks ago, it's like, companies have this stuff. It happens. SoFi right here at 662, S&P at 545. I don't think it's because Roy and Kitty bought Chewy. I don't think that's the reason why this happened. I still don't get this, dude. I don't understand how he's affording Chewy. I don't get it. If anyone has an idea, let me know in the chat. Oh, Nike. Let's talk about Nike. I talked about this over the weekend. So Nike's down another 1%. So I went to Dick's over the weekend. My favorite store. I really love Dick's. And I went to their Nike section, and it was bad, bro. It was really bad. It was not good. This is what we're looked at. I mean, no one was there, bro. No one was even looking at the Nike section. And it kind of made me think maybe Nike is actually having a brand problem. I mean, no one, like literally zero people. Either this store tends to be empty, which I don't think, because Dick's had a great earning, so it's not like their sales are down, but they have to sell stuff in their store to have a good earnings. Maybe they're not selling as much Nike as people thought. And so this was definitely not the best thing. I think the problem here, though, is because Nike, again, is getting a little overpriced. And if Nike is getting a little overpriced in terms of not just the stock, even though the stock at trading at a 26 PE with 0% growth, that was overpriced, but rather the accessories and items are getting too expensive, and people aren't paying $40, $50 for a pair of socks, which, like, yes, Nike does sell those like $50 for like a pair of elite socks, which is people aren't willing to buy. So I did this analysis in the context of the consumer. Let's take a little bit of a look at this. The American consumer is struggling, you would argue. Maybe true, maybe not true. Walgreens, Nike, and Starbucks, all their stocks down 20+% year to date, would have you think that the U.S. consumer can't afford basic goods, a pair of sneakers, or a caramel frap. However, Walmart, Costco, and Carvana are showing that Americans continue to buy basic goods, wholesale groceries, and used cars. When you look at travel, over the last month, the market has realized people are going on cruises. Carnival Cruise up 26%, Norwegian up 17%, Royal Caribbean up 8%. The TSA said 3 million people, which was a record, went through check-in last Sunday. United Airlines is up 18% year to date, and Delta is up 18% year to date. So, is the consumer struggling if they can afford to go on vacations and shop at Costco, even if they can't buy Nike and Starbucks? Or are certain companies like Nike and Starbucks just losing their brand appeal and still charging 2021 level prices? I think the broader problem is Nike and Starbucks are still charging a lot of money for goods that people aren't just willing to pay. And as a result of that, people are not excited to shop at those stores. It really doesn't make sense to me that people are able to go on cruises, but they can't buy a $7 latte. Like it stands to signal, or stands to reason, that people don't want to buy a $7 latte, but they want to spend, $3,000 to go on a cruise because they feel they're getting more for their money and they're being more conscious of that. Now, a lot of people think, oh, well, Walmart and Costco are for people that are looking for a good deal. Yes, of course, they've historically always been cheaper than like Nike or Target, but Target, which is supposed to compete with Walmart, had to lower prices on 5,000 items because they saw disinflation was coming. They didn't change their prices. And then consumers were like, we're going to go to Walmart and Costco that saw disinflation was coming in July of 2023. If you look at their earnings calls, and they lowered prices, because they didn't want to isolate the consumer. They didn't want to charge $200 extra for like an LG flat screen TV, even though they know that they don't need that type of margin because obviously disinflation is starting to happen. And they don't need to charge that much just for a laptop or for a TV. So Costco, Walmart, Carvana are the beneficiaries of the consumer. Carnival Cruise Lines, United, Travel's the beneficiary. Individual isolated companies like Walgreens, Nike, and Starbucks that are not, lowering the prices, I think they're the ones that are benefiting the least off the consumer. Walgreens down another 0.24%. Starbucks up a little bit. It's down from $90 to $78, and then Nike here at $74.81 on the day. Benny says people are starting to realize that spending money on a brand is stupid. I agree. People are starting to realize that spending money on a brand is absolutely stupid, and that you could get, a knockoff brand that is the same quality without spending that much money. Like you get a white shirt from Calvin Klein and pay $40 for it, or you could get it from Walmart and pay $4. And, like you save a lot of money. $36 is a decent amount of money to end up saving. Palantir at 25.29 going red. Robinhood as well going a little red, 22.70. Dell at 134, that's down 2%. And then Enphase still down 1%. Really weird that Enphase is getting hit this badly. I mean, solar projections must just be thrown out the window for Enphase to fall from 140 to 98 in the matter of 2 days. I mean, just did not expect this type of a decline on Enphase. But that one is completely getting hit. Where is Nvidia? Is Nvidia getting hit as well? Yeah, there you go. Nvidia down 2.25%. Nvidia getting hit. Bro, you are generalizing the opinion of 5% of a population who can afford a dinner on a cruise onto 95% of the population. I disagree with that. If you actually look at the numbers in the earnings statements of places like Carnival Cruise, or just look at TSA, 3 million people went on last Sunday through TSA. It's the highest it's been in the history of TSA. I mean, if that's the case, like 3 million people is not just 5% of the population that can afford to travel. That's a majority of Americans that are traveling, and they're probably traveling to go to cruises. Let's just say let's say they're going on a vacation. Like people are vacationing, right? People are spending money. And so I don't think it's a small amount of the population that has money. I think a ton of people, either they're taking out loans, or they're doing this on credit, or they have tons of miles that they haven't spent that they've collected since COVID. But people definitely are spending a lot more, I think, than what we thought. Credit card debt is high. I agree. Credit card debt is definitely high. It hasn't gone down. But people also have more money given stocks have gone up and their asset prices are gone up in the context of real estate. You can do a lot of buy now, pay later, even on cruises. Yeah. I mean, that's probably true. Now, some of the CCL and Carnival Cruise numbers are back to where they were pre-pandemic. Carnival Cruise, wow. As I say this, they're down 4%. Did we get really bad data? Did we get PMI data? Did the entire market just tank? Where's Tesla? No, Tesla's going up. All the money is rotating into Tesla. Look at that, 206 on Tesla. Maybe we got some bad data just now, and that's hurting some other stocks. Let's see. It's not hurting Tesla, though. That's also probably another reason. Yeah, we got PMI. Okay, let's take a look at PMI. PMI. It looks like that is hurting stocks right now. Okay, here we go. Let's get into PMI. It might have been a little bit too hot. That's why stocks are getting hit.
S&P Global PMI, this is manufacturing, and this, of course, is going to replace the mid-month read, which was 51.7, now gets finalized and permanent marker at 51.6. It remains the best month over month.
That's nothing. 51.6 versus 51.7 is nothing. I don't know why the market would react that deeply to that.
Positive change since March of this year. And do recall, this is the sixth read for 2024. All six are an expansion above 50, whereas last year in 2023, we only had 2 of 12 above 50. We continue to look at all the ISMs that will be coming out, as David pointed out, and do look at the 10-year and 2-year, which have really sold off a bit this morning, especially pre-opening of the equities. We see that yields are up about 3 basis points in the front, about 4 basis points in the longer maturities, and squawk on the street will return after a very short break.
Okay, so I don't know why the market's reacting to that PMI data. We know so if it's above 50, we're expanding. If it's below 50, we're contracting. First 6 months of the year have been above 50. That revised was from 51.7 to 51.6, which is like, I don't know how that's consequential for the market, but the market's kind of tanking on that. It's actually, is the S&P red? That is ridiculous, dude. Wow. Well, the S&P lost all of its gain. Look at that red candle. Goodness gracious, bro. Oh my God. That just means our economy is expanding, and it's expanding aggressively. Not super aggressively, but it is aggressive. It's better than it was in the first 6 months of the year. That does put some pressure on inflation, but we know inflation's coming down. So these algorithms deciding to dump stocks right now is kind of dumb, because I mean, we know we're going to get a good CPI in the next couple of weeks. Oil prices right now as well are up a little bit at 82. They were down for the majority of June, so I think they will be good in June. In July, if this keeps up in this $82, $85 range, that is going to have some pressure on inflation. Obviously, shelter is the big thing that we need to see coming down. But I don't think PMI data was enough to tank the market. I mean, I think this dip's probably going to get bought up to some extent. Or the market could just be looking for a reason to sell and take some profits. That also could be another thing going on. Chewy's now up 2%. It lost about 7% of gains. Celsius up 3%. Yeah, Celsius was up 6%. Now it's up 3%. Snowflake was up 3%. Now you see this red candle. Now it's down 0.94. Palantir was at almost 26. Now it's at 25.20. Robinhood was almost at 23. Now it's at 22.61. Dell is down. Enphase down even more, down 1.49%. I don't think that data was that bad. That's very weird. Very weird. Good news is bad news again. Less chance for rate cuts. Yeah, but it's like we've known the PMI was expanding for the past 6 months. I don't know why the market's thinking that, unless the market, I guess the market wants to see a little bit more contraction to get to the argument that we're going to get a rate cut sooner than later. But I don't know if we're going to get that in this stage. But I still think inflation will come down without needing massive contraction, which is, going to be the good part of 2024 if J Powell can pull that off. GameStop down 7% almost. Tesla was at 206. Oh no, it hit 207.55, then at 204. Wow. But it's even above 200. If it closes in this 204 range, I think a lot of people will be happy. 205 right now. Because it's tough to maintain those levels, but it got rejected at 207. If it can get right back up there and hold it for the rest of the day, and I think it got hit at 207 once the PMI data came up, but now that the PMI data is kind of baked in, I don't think anyone cares that much about it. Okay, we got Dan Ives as well on CNBC. Let's get his thoughts. He does believe that the NASDAQ can go up another 15% by the end of the year. So he's bullish on tech stocks. Let's get his take for the second half of the year.
He's right here at Post 9. I think you've outdone yourself today. We're going to have to get a full shot at some point, including the Japanese, the sneakers.
Yep.
Painted in Japan, I believe.
Yeah,
correct?
Japanese. Yeah, exactly. From an artist in Japan. So we could do the full shot.
We can get to that in a minute. But let's talk about why you continue to see and be the bullish Dan Ives that you have been for quite some time.
Look, and it speaks to our view going into the year. NASDAQ 20,000 is ultimately where I think we head. Tech stocks up another 15% because even though this has been led by Godfather of AI, Jensen, NVIDIA, the multiplier for every dollar spent on a video chip, $8 to $10 flowing through the rest of tech, software, infrastructure, semis, and I think now consumer AI revolution with what's happening in Apple. In my opinion, it is 9 p.m. in the AI party that goes to 4 a.m. And I think this tech market, bull market's going to continue.
How long does it take to get to 4 a.m. though?
I think in our opinion, it's a 2-year tech bull market, because I think the next phase, the second, third, fourth derivatives, it's about the use cases playing out. Of course, you see what's happening with Microsoft, the hyperscalers, Google, Amazon, but then next, it's going to be names like Palantir, MongoDB. I think what McDermott's doing at ServiceNow. You look at Oracle. If someone told you Dell was an AI name 6 months ago, they'd say there's no way. Look at it today. And I think it's a 1995 moment, not a 1999 moment. I think numbers go up significantly going into next year. And it speaks to our view where the bears will continue to yell in their caves about valuation with their spreadsheets. But I think this tech market continues to move higher.
You've been saying it's 95 for 2 years, Dan? How long does 1995 last?
So I think, look, and 95
Yeah.
ultimately becomes 96, 97.
Of course, yeah.
But the difference here is that you talk about the CapEx or Meta, 50 billion, what we're seeing Microsoft, 100 billion. As someone that covered tech back in the late 90s, this is not a bubble. This is
Right.
not a 99 here it comes moment, which is, I think now it's about really a fourth industrial revolution. It's about that multiplier.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's software. And I think when you look at consumer, that's why Apple, it's going to be the renaissance of growth that starts as AI-driven super cycle from Apple. And that Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA on the enterprise side, that's where I think it's a get out popcorn moment, in our opinion, for tech stocks still 15% higher.
And even when you're sometimes negative on names, you seem to still be positive on them. I think of Tesla, which, by the way, you were right to stay positive because the stocks come back. But, on the negative side, you do right. The losers are going to be in this revolution will be the tech players that get squeezed out of sales cycles, technology-driven platforms, and future growth opportunities because they don't have the tools, tech, or software engineers to compete. So what does that mean, and who is that likely to be?
Yes, you've seen some of the disasters, UiPath, and some of these smaller players that have been squeezed out of sales cycles, what's happening across software. So I think what's going to happen is across software, across semis, it's not just saying AI 40 times in a conference call. Now, to Mike's point, now the next 6-9 months, it's about execution. I think strong gets stronger. I think a lot of the smaller players get squeezed out. Ultimately, I think that will be massive consolidation in terms of that phase for software. But I think any sort of hiccup that these companies, you'll see these stocks down 20, 30, 40%, which in our opinion is you focus on the themes, you focus on the winners, the Microsofts, the Apples, and then even go like mid-cap. I think in cybersecurity, and I talk about value, I think software and cybersecurity is where I see just massive value. Names like CrowdStrike, Zscaler, Palo Alto continue to be that as a table pounder, even though, many, including New York City cab driver, were bearish on Palo Alto 6 months ago. It speaks to what we're seeing with this cloud AI revolution.
All right. You're going to let us know when 99, 2000 is coming, though, right?
But right now,
No, you won't be able to do that. You're too bullish.
But the point is, it's 9 p.m. It is not midnight. And I think this thing goes to 4 a.m.
And this is a man who knows how to party. I mean, look at him.
Well, you know the old saying,
Look at him.
the clocks have no hands. That was
I mean, he's ready for the club right now. Dan, thank you.
No, thank you.
All right. ISM and construction spending.
All right. Dan's bullish. He has never stopped being bullish. Look, I mean, I think this is one of the easiest times to be bullish for tech, just given everything we're seeing. The tailwind of AI is creating a demand for servers, demand for IT infrastructure, a demand for training on models, obviously a demand for GPUs. NVIDIA is down today. Carnival Cruise down 5%, Tesla at 206, NVIDIA down. It was at 119. It was at 118, actually. Now it's down. It's at 120. The demand's there. The question is just going to be which companies are the ones that capitalize on it. SMCI also taking a hit because NVIDIA is taking a hit. Wow, SMCI below 800. This thing was pushing $1,000 last week. Now it's 781. And Dell, I imagine, is down. Dell is down 2% as well. Dell CEO just tweeted a picture of AI servers. So, I mean, again, like, I don't think AI is going anywhere. It's just a question of the peaks and valleys of the market, giving appreciation to the ones that that matter. He did mention Palantir as well. Palantir right here at 25.20. Again, we got hit at 25.93 when that PMI data came out today. Enphase 98, Bank of America $40. Let's go to the crypto names. Crypto is all green today. Coinbase is up, CleanSpark is up, Riot's up, Marathon's up, Hut 8 Mining is up, Iren, Cypher, MicroStrategy, Bitfarms, Bitcoin here at 62,000. Again, the ETF inflows the past 3 weeks have been phenomenal on Bitcoin. I mean, not phenomenal, but they've not been red, which is good because if we just need more green days to work back up to the $100-200 million green days. 2 weeks ago, we had $1 billion in 2 days flow into the ETF, and then it just flushed right out. So I think Bitcoin it keeps oscillating in this range, and eventually you're going to need either a corporation or someone big to come in and really start to legitimize it for other asset managers. But once that does happen, I think Bitcoin starts to get into its summer run. I think On is a good buy under 40. Every time I see my girlfriend's mom, she's in a new pair of On Clouds. When I went to Dick's over the weekend, I saw the On-Ons, and they actually look like really good sneakers. It's down 1%. It's up like 50% this year or something. It's had a really good year. But they did. I didn't try them on, but they did look, unique. The brand was different than just like a sneaker with a swoosh on it. And I think the science behind the sneakers makes them feel better. So this is an interesting company, $12 billion market cap. I mean, this is a company that's giving Nike some competition. And that is why companies like Nike are struggling a little bit. Nike just green right here at 75.57. Bank of America still maintains a $104 price target on Nike. But I think they want to see growth revitalize and operating margins increase as well for them to get excited. Hey, Mitt, what is your opinion on PayPal? My opinion on PayPal is that I think it's deeply, deeply undervalued. And if you're buying stock, if it's not going to be a value trap, then I think it will do very well over the next couple of years. Unfortunately, the perception against PayPal is that they're a dinosaur. They're old. Apple Pay, Cash App, Zelle is eating their lunch, which it's not really doing that. I mean, Braintree, which is their B2B infrastructure payments platform, is growing 30% year over year. It's still a number 2 app in the App Store in finance in the United States. It's top 10 in every country. And the number 3 app in the App Store for finance is Venmo, which PayPal owns. So I think PayPal's growth is actually going to surprise people going into this quarter. But I think if it's not phenomenal, then the market's not going to care that much. And unfortunately, until they keep buying back their stock, Amazon right here at 194, maybe the market really doesn't continue to give it a premium. So good company, broken stock. And that's just how it's going to be, I think, for a little bit of time. TFC at 39.26. Eli Lilly 911. Honest at 294. Google at 181. Google getting hit a little bit as well. Goes at 185. And then Lucid is up a little bit. Rivian from last week after that $5 billion investment. Rivian's up 3%. 1388 on the day for Rivian. Alex Chris needs to change the perception of PayPal. Yeah, I agree. I mean, the easiest thing for him to do is just buy back more stock. Rivian now almost at $14. All he needs to do is take some of the $9 billion he has on the balance sheet. And Steve was talking about this. If he just buys back more stock, Shopify down 4%, then he said he was going to. They're going to buy back $5 billion. If they buy back $7 billion, I think a lot more Wall Street firms have to start looking at them seriously. Like you can't buy back that much of the company without the bigger guys being like, hey, there's not really that many other places for this to go besides up if it's a functioning business. And PayPal is obviously they're growing 8% year over year. That's more than Apple. It's obviously not as exciting as Apple. I'm not comparing it to Apple, but the point is it is growing. And I think the street should get a little bit more excited about it. Yeah, Robinhood is still down for some people. Definitely not a good look for them today. I mean, they are definitely down. On mobile, it's working, but on desktop, it's definitely not working. And I don't know if you can buy or sell on mobile because that's also giving people difficulties. So I don't know what they're going to have to come out with an answer for why this happened today. I think if I had to guess, I think it's because they tried to implement something like an update and it just didn't go the way they wanted it to go. I don't think it's increased server demand or anything like that, but I don't know why it's down. I don't know. It's a random Monday. So I think it's something that just went wrong if they were trying to update and now they have to end up trying to fix it. We'll see. I'm sure on Twitter it's getting destroyed right now. Wow. So for some people it's working. Eeyore, right, says my Robinhood desktop is 100% working. Eeyore, can you buy a stock or something? Can you buy like a dollar stock or something, see if you can actually execute an order, because I think other people are having a problem executing. Buy like $1 of Palantir, a fractional share of Palantir or something. Because if it's working but you can't buy shares, then that might be where people are complaining as well, that they can see their stocks but they can't actually buy anything. Enphase at 99, Bank of America at 40, Rivian here trying to get back up to $14 at 13.93. Yeah, I'm beneficial say I can't buy or sell on mine. See, that's the issue. For those that are saying it's working on mobile, try buying like $1 of something and see if it's actually letting you buy. Been buying all morning on Robinhood. Oh, that's weird, dude. So I guess for some people it is working. So this was a selective type of outage for people. That is very weird, because when Schwab was struggling, it was almost universally for everybody. Like most people could not log in. I guess for some people this is like isolated, which is probably why not that many people are complaining on Twitter if it is happening. I just sold a covered call on Tesla, and it's wow, that's interesting. You were actually able to sell a covered call. Wow, I mean, my on my phone I can't do anything. That's interesting. Okay, so this actually isn't going to be as bad if the majority of people have access to it, and some people just don't have access to it. Speaking of covered calls on Tesla, I would imagine the premiums are getting up there on good old Tesla right here. Let's take a look at the premiums. Let me pull up another app I have. I can look at the premium. So Tesla, wow, at 208 up 5%. So let's say I want to sell a covered call on Tesla options. So the 220 covered call for July 5th is paying you $164 a contract, 220 by July 5th, which is not bad, because in 5 days, do you think Tesla's going to 220? I mean, to get paid $1.50 a share is not bad on that. Damn, people are really buying 220 calls for July 5th. Dude, if Tesla runs to 220 in the next 4 days, holy crap, dude. That would be incredible. That would be incredible. Bought and sold on Robinhood desktop, no issues. Yeah, okay, so it's happening for some people, not happening for other people. All right, that is the exact call I just sold. Yeah, I mean, I think the 220 call for July 5th, if someone's willing to give you $1.50 a share on that, that's up 233% today, and people are actually willing to buy that. I mean, dude, the volume of that was 53,000 today. The open interest is 35,000. 35,000 people think Tesla's going to 220 by July 5th. Holy crap, dude. That's a lot of open interest for Tesla. Tomorrow's delivery numbers, Tesla could come right back down. But haven't we priced in the delivery numbers? It's going to be like 410 or something, right? Snowflake 137, Palantir 2536. If the street has priced that in and they don't care, and Tesla's an AI company now, I mean, maybe we're heading higher. Maybe the street is ready to move the hell on. Maybe they just don't care. Maybe. I think 220 is a little asking for a lot, dude. 220 is asking for a lot, but if someone's willing to pay it, and then worst case, if we get to 220, you could just roll it. I mean, I don't know if we're going to 250 after 220. I think eventually that happens. I don't think that happens the next 2 weeks. So if that doesn't happen, then there's probably, a lot of covered call premium. This is why TJ is so big on covered calls. It's like someone's willing to actually pay you $164 on your 100 shares that Tesla's going to go up. Let's do the math. 220 minus 207 divided by 207, another 6% in 4 days after being up 5%. That means it would be up 11% for the week, which is just not easy to do in the world of Tesla. I mean, like, that's just not an easy thing. But once things get green, people start getting, exuberant. Tesla stock now year to date is only down 16%. At one point, it was down 43%. So it's recovered a good 24% since the bottom back in April. And it's maintained some momentum. Shopify is down. Yeah, I don't know why Shopify is down. Maybe they got a downgrade or something. Shopify down 3.8% on the day. Couple of upgrades as well. Let me pull those up across the street. First of all, Fed Williams just said, I am confident the Fed is on path to get inflation back to 2%. So that's a quote by the Fed. Good quote. I mean, most of them are saying pretty much the same thing. Needham reiterated Apple as a buy. They kept their price target at 220. Analyst comment: smartphone replacement cycle extended to 36 months. Apple may raise prices on high-end smartphones to subsidize lower cost models. Upgrade cycle should be good. Okay, so the upgrade cycle is their argument for Apple. Deutsche Bank raised their Walmart price target to 77. Higher income consumer shopping at Walmart, improved product assortment, and additional profit opportunities in advertising, membership, and marketplace fulfillment services and data monetization are driving upside along with e-commerce. So that's probably why Walmart was a little bit green in the morning as well. They got an upgrade. Walmart now at 67.86. The advertising business on Walmart is definitely underrated, and that's something that the street's probably getting a bit more excited about. And then another piece of news, Amazon is planning to spend over $100 billion on data centers in the next decade, focused on AI and cloud computing. Again, a lot of that money is going to end up going into the semis that benefit from that or fuel the semis sector. And they're reportedly exploring, this is Amazon, nuclear power to fuel the AI boom. Amazon Web Services is nearing a deal with Constellation Energy, ticker symbol CEG, to source nuclear power for data centers. Is CEG up on that news? CEG, yeah, they're up 30%. They're up 30% on that news. Interesting. Very interesting. Well, there you go. There you go. Hey, Amit, do you think we're getting cuts this year? Yes. I think we're getting at least one cut this year. We're getting at least one cut this year. I think so. I think the Fed would be fucking stupid if they don't cut at least one, because then the Fed's going to cut a lot going into 2025, and it's not going to be a Goldilocks zone cut. It's going to be, oh, our economy is like going to shit, we need to cut rates. And so I think the Fed is smart enough. I think they're going to cut at least once. We know inflation is coming down. Without shelter and auto insurance, inflation is at 1.4%. That's below the Fed's target. And we know shelter is not actually the reported numbers that the Fed looks at. And we also know that shelter is being propped up because of interest rates. No one's buying a house because of mortgage rates being so high. So I think the Fed knows all of this. They just don't want to say it because they're afraid of reigniting inflation. But I think September we get the cut. And I think it happens. 220 on Tesla by 7.5. Some people are saying that's easy to get there. Tesla right now, wow. Tesla's running for 209. Holy crap. What a day on Tesla, dude. What a day. That's exciting, dude. If Trump wins, do you think he gets rid of J-Pow? Yeah, I think he probably does. But if he wins, he also might just want to, keep some stability. And so he doesn't get rid of him. But I don't think he likes J-Pow. I think he would definitely want to get rid of J-Pow if he has a chance. Okay, so there you go. OKLO, nuclear reactor for data centers. OKLO. Let's take a look at that one. OKLO. Okay, I'll put this on the list. $987 million market cap. I definitely want more stocks in the energy sector because, again, it just feels like there's going to need to be energy to fulfill all this AI demand. And so that seems like an easy trend over the next decade to find the best energy stocks and bet on them. But they're going to have to play a crucial role specifically in data center and energy generation, electric grid generation. Like there's a lot of different avenues that we're going to need demand for energy. Do you think Robinhood will go global anytime soon? No, I don't think Robinhood is going global anytime soon. I think it's so hard to compete in Europe, given the financial regulations, that I don't think it's going to happen. I know a lot of people want them to go global. I just don't see it happening anytime soon. Eventually it will happen, but I don't think right now is the time for it to happen. Someone saying my Robinhood is fixed on desktop. Let me see on my desktop. My desktop's still down. Douglas just opened a position on XLE. So this is the energy ETF, right? XLE. Yeah, the energy ETF. Year to date, this one I don't think is up a lot year to date. Well, it actually is a little bit. 77 to 91. So we've already seen, right there on an ETF, you're getting some decent gains this year just off the idea that there's going to be more demand for energy. So, even just going long an energy ETF is not the craziest thing over the next decade. Oh, this is the Sam Altman company? I didn't know Sam Altman was chairman of the board on Oklo. Yeah, he's looking into nuclear fission I think OpenAI is going to make some strategic investments in energy companies because they know how much energy they're generating and how much they need the energy to execute a lot of the training of the models. And they're not stopping anytime soon, dude. Like GPT-5, think of GPT-Chen, how crazy it's going to be to trade or to train on GPT-10. Like, it's just going to be intense. It is absolutely going to be intense. And there's going to need to be something to resolve that. GPT-40, GPT-20, like when we really build high-end models, I think there's going to be a decent amount of money. Okay, let's get an update right here on Chewy and Keith Gill buying Chewy. Again, I'm still very well, he got the money for this, but let's see right here.
That we're watching the open, as I said, is Chewy. An amazing story here. The online pet supplier soaring after Keith Gill, Roaring Kitty, disclosed a $245 million stake in that company. At 6.6% of the company, Bloomberg's Abigail Doolittle joins us now for more. Abby?
This is certainly a fun one, Matt. And of course, it started last week when Keith Gill, also known as Roaring Kitty on X, posted a picture of a cartoon dog. Now, on that cartoon dog meme, the stock went from being down on the day to up more than 30%. On the close, it closed up just slightly. The day after, down a little bit. So investors not quite sure, but you can see the excitement that he created from the original meme factor back in 2020, 2021 into stocks today. So the stock right now up about 7% off of its highs in the morning today. In the pre-market, up about 30% on the disclosure of this $245 million passive stake, about 6.6%, as you said, or 9 million shares. Folks perhaps not quite knowing what to make of this. Plus, it should be noted, there is a roughly 18% short interest on this stock. And Matt, I would be remiss if I didn't bring GameStop into the picture, because this stock down 6.7%. And this, of course, is where this is his bread and butter meme stock, even this year, creating some big volatility on a meme of a man, presumably him or somebody else, leaning forward to play a game. That stock, as you have pointed out many times, had been a $10 stock. It is now, even though it's down on the day, a $23 stock. And it's interesting, Chewy had been a roughly $15 stock. It's now basically a $30 stock. One connecting factor, of course, Ryan Cohen had been the founder of Chewy and is the CEO of GameStop. More to come on this story, Matt.
This is insane, dude. If he sold his GameStop for Chewy, I think Kitty is going to go down as one of the most hated people ever, dude. If he actually sold GameStop, I mean, the GameStop brand or the GameStop cult is so intense. You know, you say one bad thing about the company, these guys will rip your head off. If the leader left the cult and sold all his GameStop to buy 9 million shares of Chewy, which I don't think he did, but I think he had to sell some of it. I don't know if he had an extra $200 million lying around. Then I wonder what they're thinking. Like, I really wonder what the GameStop bulls are thinking. Chewy right here, 25.79 on the day. It's down 5%. GameStop at 23.18. And the thing about Chewy is the time to get in was when it was $15 late, like in April. And maybe Kitty did buy, but he didn't tell anybody during that time. But now it looks like when he buys, I mean, you would think the stock is up. The stock's down. Now it looks like people don't like when he gets into a stock. Whereas before, you know, people were excited every time he got into a stock. So the leader they deserve. The thing about Chewy is they're actually executing. They're like profitable. They're a good company. They're growing. Like they're not. They're like a real company. GameStop obviously is, you know, just $4 billion in cash and not really executing on doing anything. Ryan Cohen did tweet last night that he's looking for game developers, and it's very interesting. He's like, if you're an iOS developer, email me. And I'm like, dude, you're the CEO of GameStop. You can't find like good developers. He's like, you must have an intense work ethic. I'm just like, it's very interesting. I don't know what they're working on, but they're building some mobile app. Their mobile app is actually number 46 in the App Store for shopping. I don't know if people use this app, but maybe they're building a new interactive gaming app experience. I don't know what they're doing, but I guess this is the first time he's tweeted since March. I guess he needs developers because they're finally putting into action and doing something. I'm Beneficial says, I just took an acceptance offer to work for Chewy. Wow. My computer and everything. Oh, so we got a Chewy employee in the chat. All right. Well, if you get paid in stock, Roaring Kitty might make you a fucking millionaire or something. Goodness gracious, dude. S&P is down. Yeah, S&P's taking a hit. S&P 543. Where's NVIDIA? NVIDIA 120. Tesla's still maintaining it. It looks like the market's like rotating into Tesla today. Palantir 22, 25, 22, Robin at 22, 54. Salesforce 256. Broader markets down or flat, even though some individual equities are up. Tesla being the bulk of it today, up 5%. Maybe Warren Kitty has been generating cash from selling covered calls for GameStop, and perhaps he also purchased Chewy on margin. Possible that might have helped him take a large position. That's not a bad argument. That's very possible. I think the selling covered calls, he could have been making like close to $17 million a month if he sold all 90,000 of his covered calls. But even if he sold 45,000, he could have made, 8 million a month. So it's very possible that's how he ended up purchasing. But 9 million shares, even if you multiply that by $20, which we're being generous giving him a $20 average, I don't think he bought at 20. That's $180 million that he needed to generate. And I don't think he's been selling covered calls for that long to be able to make that much money. And I don't know what brokerage is giving him that much margin, bro. I mean, like maybe I don't know. I guess we'll see. But it is very weird. It is very, very weird. Roaring Kitty had an OnlyFans and made money for Chewy that way. Dude, it's just, yeah, E-Trade is not extending him that much margin with GameStop as the collateral. That's the cool thing about brokerages. They're basically like, they operate as banks. They can give you a loan, but the loan is collateralized, not by like, trust me, bro, or by your credit score, by your stock. Now, if your stock is Apple, they will gladly give you more money because if you can't pay them back, they'll just sell your Apple and, E-Trade, Robinhood, Schwab, they'll be happy owning Apple stock. But if they have to own GameStop stock, they're not that happy collateralizing you via your GameStop because they probably don't think GameStop is worth that much to them. Gavin, thank you for the $5 super chat. Amit, did you see AMD VP saying that they have received inquiries for a 1.2 million unit GPU order? Tom's Hardware, AMD talks 1.2 million GPU AI. I did not see that. Is AMD up? AMD's down 5% on the news. So if they have to deliver 1.2 million GPUs, they're going to tank 5%. No, I didn't see that, but I don't think the market is respecting that headline as a real headline if the stock's down 5%. But if that's true, then we're going to see it in AMD's numbers. The problem with AMD all year has been their numbers suck. Like, amazing company, phenomenal technology. Lisa Su's amazing. But when you look at their numbers compared to NVIDIA, it's just not even a question which one you would rather buy. Even at 121, I'd rather buy NVIDIA over AMD, which is crazy because AMD is worth 250 billion, NVIDIA is worth 3 trillion. But like AMD just doesn't put up the types of numbers you want to see. And so it's not like they're not going to put up those numbers eventually, but it's not NVIDIA by any sense of the imagination when it comes to growth. And so if they do get a unit in order to sell 1.2 million GPUs, that would definitely help the overall growth going into the next few months. CUDA, that's also very popular for NVIDIA. It's also very special. Chris says, fascinating that Roaring Kitty was able to go from 50,000 to whatever he has made today. Crazy times. Yeah. And look, people respect that a lot, that he went from 50,000 to like the 200 million he's on. But a lot of people are wondering just how did you go from 50,000 to 200 million? Like, that's just, it makes people like, I think people should rightly be skeptical. It's not that you don't have to believe that it's his money, but you should be a bit skeptical for someone going to that much amount of wealth in 3 years. I mean, usually that doesn't happen. And the last reported figure we got on GameStop was that he made 50 million on GameStop. So if you had to pay 25 million in taxes, then he turned 25 million into 300 million, which I don't know. I don't know how he did that. Honestly, a lot of people think he probably just bought Meta calls at $88 and rode those up because that would have been an easy way to do that. But you would have had, I did some math yesterday. Peter Thiel, dude. Peter Thiel sold 13 million shares of Meta when it IPO'd at about $38. He made $600 million and he bought in for like 500,000. So it was a good return. If Peter had held onto his Meta, it would have been worth 8.4 billion, dude. And then if he had held on to the existing 20 million shares after that, you're looking at a closer stake of about $15 to $20 billion off a $500,000 investment. And he sold most of it at IPO. Tesla right here. Where's Tesla? Tesla's at 208. The reason I bring this up is because Peter Thiel kind of went bearish on Bitcoin last Friday, and he said, I don't know if it goes higher from here. And what's interesting about that is that although he's kind of bearish on Bitcoin, not bearish, but just he doesn't see a lot of the upside. A lot of people were like, well, he didn't see a lot of upside on Meta either. And it's kind of weird because he's really good at like angel investing and stuff like that. But when it comes to taking big macro bets, Thiel doesn't really take those bets. Saylor is more of the guy who has been proven correct on taking those bets. Thiel doesn't. And selling Meta and not having the insight to hold on to that, given he saw where the world was going. Now, obviously, you're going to say, well, he was an angel investor. He had to get his capital out. He had, like, yes, that's fine. But like it was obviously risk averse. You know, he was not ready to hold on to Meta for that long, even though, you know, Meta ended up becoming very, very successful. So one could argue that maybe he's having a bit of paper hands with Bitcoin because he tends to sell out early versus waiting for a long time. He did that with PayPal as well, right? So it's interesting to see kind of how he did that. The math you did was a post on X. Actually, it wasn't. I went on ChatGPT last night. It actually wasn't a post on X. ChatGPT is getting really strong, dude. I literally asked ChatGPT how many shares did Peter Thiel sell during the IPO of Meta, and it was like he sold 38 million shares. Let me actually show you this. I did this last night. It's becoming really smart, dude. It didn't even have to go to Bing for this. I was like, how much did Peter Thiel sell of Meta at IPO? And it said 16 million shares at 38 per share, which equivocates to $638 million. And so if he held on to those shares at today's share price, that'll be worth 8.4 billion. Where's the 10-year right now? The 10-year's at 4.4. We're actually up. It was at 4.2 all of last week. It's at 4.4. And that also explains why Thiel's selling his Palantir. Like, this is a guy who doesn't hold on to his equities. Like, yeah, and granted, I know he bought in at 2003. I get it. So he's held on for a long time. I understand. But like, when things go public, I mean, think about it. When he sold PayPal, he, like, the first offer he got, he was out. And at some point he was even thinking, like, you know, PayPal, that he would leave early from PayPal. Tesla right here trying to get to 210. So there is an argument to say that Thiel's opinion on Bitcoin might not be the best opinion, given, you know, when things run up, he takes his profits and he leaves, and he doesn't really stay there for the long haul because he doesn't really care about doing that. He has other places where he wants to put his money. And maybe, you know, maybe Bitcoin ends up being the thing that he gets wrong over the next decade as well. After you have billions of dollars, what's the point of having another few billion? Thiel doesn't need the big money, so why not accumulate the good gains rather than moonshot and miss your gains? Yeah, but it's not a question of missing your gains. It's a question of having the insight to know that Meta at Facebook at the time was not going anywhere, or that Bitcoin is actually, you know, Bitcoin's going to be the reserve currency probably of the world in the next, you know, 40, 50 years. That's like the Super Bowl case, right? And it's like, yes, you can take your quick win, or you can have that insight, and you have to, it has to be one or the other. You either sell or you either keep it. And obviously he picked the money. He didn't decide to keep it. So it's just an interesting thought on how he thinks about what's going on with Bitcoin. He also is kind of bearish. I mean, I could pull up that clip because it's actually a really good clip, but he's also kind of bullish or bearish on Nvidia. He just doesn't think the monopolistic power they have over GPUs is going to last. And he might be right on that. But again, if he had a big stake in Nvidia, he'd probably sell as well. So he's definitely not as bullish as a lot of people think in the context of some of these AI names, because he just doesn't know how cyclical the industry might be. Is Robinhood working yet? Is it finally working? Oh, it's working. Here we go. Robinhood's back up. Robinhood's up for me. All right, so that was what, about a 30-minute delay? Yeah, it's live. All right, so 30 minutes. People are probably going to be pissed off over this 30 minutes, but it's up. It's working now for me. I am able to buy and sell on Robinhood. Robinhood stock 22.75, Palantir right here 25.45, Nvidia at 121. All right, not too bad. Let's get into the Robinhood news that I broke over the weekend as an official journalist, and then we'll watch that Peter Thiel clip. So I found out this news late last Friday night. I had a couple sources confirm it to me. So I started tweeting all these pictures of people putting a lot of money onto the platform, and as I kept tweeting those pictures, I kept getting more DMs from people that ended up showing me how much money they transferred onto Robinhood. And two of those people that ended up messaging me said something very interesting. And after confirming with a bunch of different people in terms of how they think about the transfer process, I realized something's going on. So I tweeted this at 7:12. I confirmed by about 8 o'clock, and then I posted this. Schwab is paying people 1% to stay on Robinhood. Or sorry, not on Robinhood, on their own platform. So a couple people talked to me. They said, hey, we tried to transition into Robinhood. We had a $500,000 account. And then Schwab called us up and they said, hey, instead of keeping your money on Robinhood for 24 months to be able to take advantage of the 1% match, we'll give you a 1% match for keeping it on the platform for 12 months. And they did this for the highest amount that I know was about 500,000, which is not bad, 5,000 to stay, but still it's a question of why Schwab giving a 1% match to a $500,000 account. Schwab has $9 trillion in assets. They brought over 31 billion in deposits last quarter. Robinhood brought over 11 for some context. And Robinhood has $134 billion in assets. Why is Schwab getting scared over a $500,000 account potentially leaving to Robinhood? And this happened to multiple people. So it leads me to believe, I went deep into it. I'm not going to read the entire thing. I'll put the post in the description if you want to read it. But I think the big thing that happened here is that they're getting very scared. And unfortunately, they're not going to be able to give $90 billion to the $9 trillion of assets that they have on the platform. There's just no way they're going to be able to do this. So the bear case for Robinhood is that their differentiation was offering the 1% match. And if other brokers start matching it, then that differentiation goes away. I think that is a solid bear case. The problem is I don't think they can do it for the majority of people. So the people that are bringing over $200,000 from Schwab to Robinhood, they're not going to give them 1% match. Like that client is just not worth that much to Schwab for them to care, but it's worth a lot to Robinhood. So I think the $9 trillion of assets, I mean, if you have Schwab right now, you should literally call them up and just threaten to leave and see if they'll give you the match. I mean, like, a lot of people saw this post and I got a lot of messages that people started calling Schwab and they're going to start asking for that 1% match because there's no way you can selectively give people this match. To an extent, it's unethical, but also it's going to piss off people. Like your business should be valued at a brokerage, even if you have $50,000 versus if you have $50 million. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like, they care about that many people. Robinhood, if you have $5 or, $500,000, they will give you that 1% match because, they just care about making that platform accessible to everybody. Tesla right here at 210, up 6% on the day. So I think the bull case here for Robinhood is that the June deposits must have been so intense in terms of leaving Schwab and going to Robinhood that the head execs at Schwab were probably telling their reps, hey, you got to stop this bleeding. And we don't care if the account is, semi-big, give them the 1% match to say. Which means I think Q2 is going to be really good for Robinhood. Because not only the amount of images I got a guy who transferred 1.4 million into Robinhood, got $14,000 match, and he put all of it into Robinhood stock. So I think a lot of people ended up putting their money into Robinhood, and I think they put their money into Robinhood to the extent that Schwab is now willing to personally call you and tell you not to leave by giving you a 1% match. Unfortunately, Schwab can't lower the margin rates the way Robinhood did, so that's going to be a bad thing for Schwab, right? That's a big reason why people left for Robinhood. And Schwab can't give a 1% match to $9 trillion in assets. It's just not possible. Whereas Robinhood can definitely give a 1% match to $130 billion in assets because the scale of that is a lot lower. Palantir here at 25.57. So good news for Robinhood. They acquired this Pluto AI company today. I'll go deeper into that. I'll give you guys some updates during market close after I dig into that. But I overall think the Q2 numbers are going to be exceptional if Schwab is this scared about Robinhood. Schwab gave me the same offer for my $200,000 account, but I still moved LOL better UI on Robinhood. Wow. So the fact, this is the thing, if Schwab cares that badly about 200 grand leaving a $9 trillion assets platform, that means it's hurting them, dude. Hurting them not in the sense of it's like legitimately taking away their earnings potential, but it's getting to the point where it's so annoying that the people keep leaving that the execs are probably like, all right, we have to do something, like we have to, like we can't let people keep leaving even if they only have 200 grand. But if people keep leaving, it's not the best thing for Schwab. Douglas says, I saw the news you posted and called my uncle. He's got like 30 million in Schwab. Yeah. If you have big money and you threaten to leave, I mean, you could probably ask for more than 1%, dude. Because I don't think Schwab wants to lose a $30 million account. And they'll probably give you 2 to 3% just to stay, because if they lose that money, that's not good for a public company that has to put up earnings growth, dude. Schwab cannot lose that much money and then go to earnings and be like, yeah, we're losing money to Robinhood. I mean, their investors would be like, what the fuck? How are you losing money to Robinhood? What's going on here? Tesla right here at 210. But the flip side is if Schwab starts paying people to stay, that's going to increase their operating expenses. And so if they increase their expenses and investors like, why are your expenses up? And they're like, because we're offering a match. They're going to be like, oh, so Robinhood's really messing with you guys. That's why you guys have to match your clients now, right? And so both ways, it's a little tricky for them to navigate. Chris says they are doing this because small accounts are potentially younger buyers and they want to take market share. Yeah, and small accounts grow into big accounts, right? Like someone who has $200,000 today, in 10 years, they might have 2 million or 1 million or even 800,000. And so they don't want to lose that business for the next 10 years. Breaking news: Amit crashes Schwab. But it's like even Vlad, when I interviewed Vlad, he said the same thing. He was like, if Schwab starts giving a match, that news will get out very quickly. He's like, you don't hide that news. You know, they can't secretly give their favorite clients a match. Like people are gonna find out and they're gonna call them up and they're gonna at least ask, hey, can I get the match as well? And then they might get pissed off if they don't get a match, or they don't do anything, but at least they're gonna ask. And Schwab's gonna have to make a decision there. Tesla right here is breaking out at 211. So those calls now, those covered calls, let's take a look at those covered calls. And the premiums have to have gone up a little bit. So Tesla covered call for 220. Wow, it's above 211. Look at that. Look at that. Incredible. Dude, even 235, someone's willing to pay 48 cents a share. 220, wow, $2.39. Holy crap. Someone is willing to pay $240 for Tesla going. Even if you did 225, give yourself $5 more of safety, you'd get paid $1.46 on those covered calls. Holy crap, dude. Incredible. Those covered calls are up 400% in a day, or like since last Friday. Wow. Well, those calls are up 400%. If you had them covered, you're down on those. Interesting. And if you get if you get really bullish and say, Tesla's not going to 215 by Friday, which Tesla gets a bad number tomorrow, it could drop to 205 very easily. You could get paid $400 right now for your 100 shares in a covered call premium, because someone would be willing to pay $400 that Tesla's getting to 215 by tomorrow or by July 20th. Wow. That is kind of crazy, dude. Tesla right here. It looks like it wants to break out, dude. Holy crap. Robin right here, 2293. Who has a lot of Tesla? Put in the chat. Do we have any Tesla whales in the chat? Like real Tesla whales? Like I'm talking about if Tesla goes to 300, you're having a very good steak dinner. By the way, I've come to the conclusion on steak. Steak is not meant to be eaten medium rare. Medium well is now how I like my steak. And before everyone kills me for that, I don't understand why you guys want all that hemoglobin, or otherwise known as blood. I don't know why you guys like all that stuff. Hemoglobin, whatever the hell it is. It's not attractive to eat blood in steak, okay? And I've been eating medium rare my whole life. I am now a medium well guy. And I like it crispy. I like it hard. That's what she said. And I like enjoying the steak without all the hemoglobin inside of it. So medium well is the way to go. Medium well. Someone said, shut the hell up. Medium rare. Dude, medium rare is not the way, dude. It's just not. I was at San Francisco 2 weeks ago at the AIP Con, and we had a steak dinner, and I asked for medium well for the first time. I loved it. It was way better than eating all that blood in medium rare. Like, it wasn't the best. Jaco has 10,000 shares. Sam has 1,000 shares. Anthony, 3,000. Darren, 3,000. 9,600. Damn, we have some whales in the chat, bro. Holy crap. People have some Tesla shares in this chat. Red meat has more nutrition, medium rare. Homoglobin? Oh, I should love it if it's homoglobin. Homoglobin? Dude, medium well is better. I think everyone's wrong on this. I've had medium rare my whole life, and it's good, but the blood is not as exciting to eat. Like the crispiness of the medium well is way better. Now, going all the way well done is a little bit too intense, but medium well is the perfect mix of medium rare with the crispiness. And so I like that. I think medium well is the winner. If we ever do a fan meetup at a steakhouse, dude, like in the UK or something, or in New York or LA, I'm ordering medium well for everybody. And everyone, no one's getting medium rare. Everyone has to try medium well. And actually realize the truth. Literally eating rare steak right now. Guys, I'm so excited it's July. Because I'm taking this month, Tesla right here at 211. I'm taking this month serious to start losing weight. Again, it's a toxic trait I have, but when a new week or a new month starts, I feel more motivated. And you should be motivated at any point of the year, but now that it's July 1st, I want to work out, I want to eat right, and then I want to make sure July 2nd I work out, eat right, and I just want to have a streak. But if I mess up on July 1st, like, well, August 1st is a new month. We'll try that. We'll try to August 1st. But like, so like it's kind of, it's toxic because it's a bad mentality, but it forces you to not fuck up when the new month or the new week or the new whatever starts. But it has to be something new. Like, it can't be a random Wednesday. I can't be like, all right, I'm going to start working out on a Wednesday. It's like, no, it has to be a Monday, and I have to make sure Tuesday goes well, and then Wednesday will go as well, and then it goes to the end of the week. So we need to make sure July 1st goes very well, which is why after this, I'm going to the gym and I'm working out. Chris says, I'll stick to chicken. Chicken is my friend. Yeah, I love chicken as well, but steak, I've gone to appreciate steak over the past few years. I mean, I've loved to enjoy a good steak. And I've had like 4 or 5 steak dinners in the past 2 months. And I don't know, dude, medium well seems to be ideal. It's just medium rare is just, even when you're looking at it, bro, it's so much blood. I'm just like, why? How is that attractive to look at? How is that attractive to look at? Medium rare steak. It's just not, it's like, it's just too much. I mean, look at this, dude. Look at this. Look at this. See, look at this. This is what I'm saying. Look at medium well. Well is too crispy. Medium well is still pink. You guys are thinking there's no pink in it. There's still pink. Medium rare is just too much blood, and then rare is just you're a psychopath if you eat rare. But medium rare is a little bit too much blood. Medium well is literally the perfect, like, there's nothing more you could ask for. I don't understand how anyone thinks medium rare is better than medium well. I don't get it, bro. I don't get it. But that's what I'm picking now. Medium raw. I know it's not blood. But like, it looks like blood. So it looks like blood. All right. Tesla's at 210. Walgreens is down 1%. Celsius is down 3%. Or Celsius up 3%. Snowflake's up 3.4. Palantir rebounding right here, 2560. Robinhood 2283. Market kind of rebounding. Is the S&P green? S&P 543. S&P's down a little bit. But some of the stocks that had a tough day are rebounding a little bit more. BitX is up 9%. 2x leverage fund on Bitcoin, so that one's doing well. ARK Innovation 4444. Microsoft at 451 on the day as well. All right, there you go. That's what we got in this market. When does Tesla production come out? Tomorrow. We get the Tesla numbers tomorrow. Oh, that's gonna be important, dude. If those numbers are if they're somewhat decent, like maybe they kind of beat expectations. I mean, Tesla to 215 doesn't sound crazy if they really beat expectations, but they've got to beat. And I think Tesla is going to come in lower because, I mean, we know, dude, EVs have had a tough past couple months. But if the numbers come in lower and the street doesn't care, I think that's a buy on Tesla all the way, because that means the street has fully transitioned into thinking it's actually FSD or bust, and no one gives a shit about the cars anymore. And if that's the case, that's really good news for Tesla, because we moved on from selling cars and gross margins and all that shit that like no one cares about. Now it's just FSD and Optimus, realistically FSD. But if the street can reorganize their thoughts on Tesla, it can get exciting. It can get very, very exciting. Robots from Tesla as well. Yeah. And I think on 8.8, we're going to get more updates on that as well. Someone is up $145,000 on Tesla. Dude, that's crazy. Isn't that crazy, guys? Isn't it crazy? Sometimes you look at your portfolio and you're up like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And like, you're just like, damn, like that's like real money. Obviously, if your long-term thesis on your option or your stock means you're not going to sell, but that's like a legit 145 grand that is so hard to make. Like, it's really hard to make money on this planet. And you could make money just by putting it into equities. And potentially the right equities could go up and you make money. So that was the crazy thing, that my friend that I hadn't seen in like 7 years, when he came over yesterday and we were talking about the stock market, he like, he kind of dabbles in the stock market. He's like into index funds and shit. But like, I was trying to tell him a little bit about selling options and stuff. And it's like, you really got to be motivated to learn this stuff, dude. Like someone randomly can't come up to you and try to teach it to you, because unless you're motivated to figure out the stock market, it's such a beast. It's so hard to try to figure it out that you have to be internally motivated. Otherwise, you're never going to have a chance. So it was interesting to see how they think about the market and stuff. But you got to be obsessed with the market. You just got to be obsessed, and then eventually, if you find something, it's beneficial. And the craziest thing is not taking profits. Like, I know when to buy is hard, but when to sell is even harder, right? But when you're long on a name and like you're up a decent amount of money, but there's more upside, that's what makes you a real investor that is actually able to compound your gains over time. And that's what differentiates a lot of us in the chat from people in the regular world that just don't invest, dude. They just don't care about it. And it's like, it's a superpower, in my opinion. It's like, it's anyone can learn it. It's a superpower. It's not complicated. It just takes hard work. But once you learn it, some really amazing things can happen. All right. Word of the day is tautology.
Tautology.
Needless repetition of an idea. Okay. Her advice was to revert back to the original plan. This meeting is, so they're not using the word in a sentence. They're using examples of it. I heard the news with my own ears. This sounds like some shit I would say. I heard the news with my own ears. This is tautological. Her advice was to revert back to the original plan, because revert, original, you don't need to say that. This meeting is absolutely essential. Absolutely essential. And then I heard the news with my own ears. You don't have to say your own ears if you heard the news. I feel like I say a lot of tautologies throughout the stream, and I probably don't catch myself saying it. Amid is tautological on Palantir. Yes, 100%. 100%. Oh my gosh, that's a funny one. All right, well, I will continue to be tautological throughout the rest of the year and discuss the stock market. Hopefully we have some new ideas as we get into the latter 6 months. Tesla right here at 209, and we'll be back on the market close at 345. We'll see what ends up happening. Snowflake at 139, Spotify 308, Palantir 2567. Again, Palantir was named as one of the 9 best stocks to go long on from Bank of America this morning, so that's probably why it's getting some momentum. Robinhood at 2277, and then S&P at 543 at 22 on the day. Is Hawk Tua a tautology? Dude, she was on a concert from some country artist, Zach Bryan or something, I think is his name. She was at a festival this weekend. She's like turning into a star. And I hope she turns into a mega star, dude. That's like so cool. All right. That's it for me. Thank you everybody for being here. 3:45. We're back. I'm going to go work out and start July in the right direction. If you have any goals for the latter half of this year, July 1st is as good of a day to start as any. And we're going to get back in shape and get in motion. So that's it. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you guys in a few hours. Have a good one. See you in a bit. Oh, Zach Brown. Okay, Zach Bryan. I said mispronounced his name. There you go, Zach Brown. I'll see you guys at 3:45. Bye, everyone.